This is the Travel Gigolo, and this is my experience of the Richtersveld Ice Transfrontier Park. Getting to the Richtersveld Park is a significant drive from almost anywhere. It's a whopping 1,450 kilometer drive from Johannesburg, and if you're coming from Cape Town, it's 860 kilometers. We entered through the Helskloof gate. You've got to stop there and check in. However, it's still another 22 kilometer drive to Sandilandsdrift where the SANParks office is. The SANParks office is open from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the afternoon, so it's important to take that into account in your planning. The Orange River is pretty much the only permanent surface water within the park on the South African side. On the Namibian side, of course, there's the Fish River as well. But on the South African side, it's basically the Orange River, and that provides quite a significant amount of relief from the heat, and it's a great place to hang out, and we camped there, and I'll do a separate episode on the campsite that we stayed at. We also camped up at Koekeboom, which is in the mountains, and I'll also do an episode on that. Besides the campsite, there are also chalets that are run by SANParks, but we didn't go to those. The vegetation in the Richtersveld varies quite significantly from one area to another. And a lot of these species are unique to this area. So it's really important to treat these with some care. Make sure that you stay on the roads and that you don't impact on the natural environment. Being such an arid area, there isn't much in the way of large four-legged wildlife. With the exception of the occasional springbok, you didn't see very much wildlife of that sort. There are, however, numerous species of bird and reptile. Depending on which way you decide to drive to the Richtersveld, most of it is tarred road. However, inevitably the last few kilometers, about 70 kilometers or so, are all dirt road. Driving these dirt roads is quite an experience in itself. The landscape is starkly beautiful desert with mountains in the background. The roads are often covered with wind-blown dust, which kind of gives one the impression of being the first person to drive along these roads for a very long time. Because of the remoteness, it is really desolate, and you can drive for hours without seeing a single other car. The roads are, of course, all dirt roads, as you would expect. Besides the road from Helskloof Gate to Sandilandsdrift, the roads are generally in reasonable condition. The road from Sandilandsdrift to Helskloof Gate, however, because there is some mining activity in Sandilandsdrift, there is quite a bit of heavy vehicle movement along that road, so it is quite corrugated. There are a couple of steep roads on some of the passes where there is a bit of evidence of erosion, but of course it doesn't rain very much here, so you're not going to encounter that a lot of the time. What's important to note there is that there are really steep passes that you've got to traverse, both uphill and downhill, and in some cases those roads are quite uneven as well. Some of those sections require low range for you to navigate them safely. That doesn't mean that you must have low range, but in my view it's certainly a good thing to have. Obviously you need sensible clearance as well because those roads are quite uneven. So something to note about the Richtersveld is that although as you drive in there's a sign that says bakkies and SUVs recommended, there are a number of very steep gradients in the passes. So there's quite a few passes through the park. I think there's 7 altogether. And a couple of those have very steep gradients. Some of those are quite short stints with steep gradients, but it's going to be very slow going there even with a 4x4. You're looking at going at about 10 kilometers an hour to navigate those steep sections. So even if you are going to come here with an SUV or a bakkie, I do recommend that you have an all-wheel drive or 4x4, four-wheel drive, whatever the case is. So the last place that you can get fuel is Sandilandsdrift. And a lot of the time when you're driving to this park, you're going to be driving at fairly low speeds, up and down steep inclines, on rocky, sometimes uneven roads. And generally your fuel consumption is going to be higher than normal. What this means, of course, that you've got to plan your fuel requirements quite carefully, and also I think it's very advisable to have extra fuel with you. Besides the Orange River, there isn't very much water that you're going to come across, so you've got to plan your food and water requirements very carefully. This is a very remote place and water is scarce. So make sure that you've got sufficient food and water. The nearest place that you can get food and water is going to be Sandilandsdrift, which is a significant drive from almost anywhere within the park. As I've said before, the shop at Sandilandsdrift is a really small shop, so you've got to bring all your major supplies with you. We had no problems with our tires. We didn't get any punches, and we didn't hear of anybody getting tires cut or whatever the case is on sharp stones. But again, that's something you've got to be just cognizant of, I think, and of course have a full spare tire. In our case, we have 2 spare tires. That just gives us a bit more confidence and peace of mind. The nearest large town is Springbok, and there are a couple of other smaller towns that are nearer, such as Port Nolloth, Alexander Bay, and Eksteenfontein. The Richtersveld is truly unique insofar as South African landscapes are concerned, and this is something we've wanted to experience for a very long time. I don't think I've fully comprehended what to expect in getting to the Richtersveld, but having got here, it's absolutely beautiful. It's vast, open, arid spaces and these mountains that look absolutely huge against this desert background. It's truly a starkly beautiful landscape. We're here in the height of summer and it's incredibly hot and dry. Despite the seemingly inhospitable environment though, it is really flourishing with a lot of vegetation that is quite unique, stuff that I have never seen before. If you're going to come here, I really recommend that you take a bit of time to stop and just appreciate the vegetation and how different it is and how incredible it is that this stuff can survive here in this environment. So what I enjoyed most about the Richtersveld is just the feeling of being out in the middle of this remote, desolate nowhere, absolutely far from every single large civilized place that you can consider. No cell phone signal, no disturbances, very seldom coming across other people as well, which kind of adds to that feeling of being out somewhere desolate and unique, and you almost kind of feel like you're the first person there for a very long time. So just a quick recap, I think things you need to take note of. Firstly, make sure you've got sufficient fuel, make sure you've got enough water as well. I think you need a 4x4 or a 4-wheel drive. I don't think that you should come here without a 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, 4x4, something like that. Low range is great to have as well. Definitely bring your sense of adventure with you and stop to admire and just enjoy the landscape, enjoy the unique vegetation. This is really, really a unique place and I highly recommend it. I hope you found this informative. If you did, hit the like button. Also leave a note below if you've been to the Richters or intend to go there. I'd love to hear from you. And if you've got any questions, then hit me up in the comments below. If you haven't already subscribed, then hit the subscribe button. To those of you that have subscribed, thank you for your support. Really appreciate it. And until the next episode, go everywhere, see everything. Have a great time.